Good evening, friends. I wanted to talk a little bit about blood testing and how it can be helpful with hormone replacement therapy. So, I have worked with online telehealth companies that do require blood testing, and I have worked with companies that do not. And I want to tell you my opinion of the pros and cons, and obviously share a little bit about the costs. So, the three companies that I have so far, year to date, not year to date, but so far, have worked with are Winona and Joy Women's Wellness and Alloy. And I will say that the only of the three that required the blood testing was the Joy. And so that's the one I'm going to specifically speak on specifically today. So when I started working with Joy, they require that you do upfront blood testing before you can even meet with a doctor. So they actually offer three different blood panels that you can choose from. The first one they call a complete hormone, and it's $99, and there's a coupon below for 15% off. Their second panel is called Hormone Plus Metabolic Plus Thyroid. That one is $249. And again, you've got a coupon below for 15% off. And then the last one is called the Comprehensive Panel, and that one is $499. So again, 15% off, but again, it's quite a bit of an investment. The first one looks at 44 biomarkers, the second one looks at 65 different biomarkers, and the third one looks at 74 biomarkers. So depending on how many symptoms, how many things you have a concern with, just the basic hormone test might be enough for you. So you take $99, take 15% off, and obviously that's your cost. It's like 89 bucks. And so what happens is once you pay for that, you put that basically that lab in your cart. You use the coupon code to get the discount. Once you check out, then a day or two later, you will get some paperwork from Joy. They'll email it to you, and that will be your paperwork to take to a LabCorp place where they can actually draw your blood. And I do encourage you to look at their hours and to specifically look at their lunchtime hours, because I went one time at 1 o'clock and they'd actually do lunch from 1 to 2. And so I had to wait. So just be sensitive to whatever hours they are open. So when I went in, they took my paperwork. I actually forwarded the email from Joy directly to them at the office. They're at the LabCorp office. They printed everything off. They got me ready in a room, and obviously then did the blood draw. And they took like 3 or 4 vials of blood, and I was in and out in like 15 minutes. So it was actually pretty quick. Within a week, I had my blood results back, and so LabCorp actually emailed the results directly to me. And then I also got a notification from Joy that my results were in, and they sent me a link to schedule an appointment to be able to meet with a Joy HRT specialist. So the reason that I am pro testing is because when I started using Joy, or when I started working with Joy, I was already on a hormone replacement therapy, a cream that consisted of progesterone and estrogen. And I felt great. I felt fine. I wasn't having hot flashes, wasn't having night sweats, and I felt fine. But again, I just wanted to try something different. And because I'm kind of a data geek, I just wanted to know where my numbers were. I just wanted access to that information. So when I got the numbers back from Joy, the first blood test, I realized that my estrogen levels, even though I was on HRT, were low, and my progesterone level, even though I was on HRT, was low. And so when I met with Dr. Brooke there at Joy, and we had a 30-minute consultation, she even shared with me, I know you're on HRT, but you can clearly see your numbers are still really, really low based on the ranges that are kind of normal for menopause, and even kind of what you want to see if you're on HRT. And so again, that just affirmed to me that having that data, having that blood work and those numbers really was an affirmation to me that, number one, I needed the hormone replacement therapy. Two, I needed to be with a company who likes to do the consistent ongoing testing to make sure things are okay, that your numbers aren't too low, but they're also not too high, right? I mean, I don't want to feel like I'm 30 again. But again, you want to make sure they're in line and within reason of what's considered reasonable. And obviously our age, I'm currently 57. And so for me, I think I will, for the most part, for the next 4 or 5 years, probably stay with a company that does encourage and offers online testing, or excuse me, blood work testing. I just feel like, again, for me, that is the right move. But if your goal is to save money and maybe you hate to have blood tests, there are companies like Winona, and I've been on their therapy before. There is a company called Alloy, and I've been on their therapy. And neither one of those two companies require that you do an upfront blood test. They will let how you feel be the measuring stick of whether the medication is working or not. And there's nothing wrong with that, because there are lots of opinions out there that say that, and this is the con against the testing, that the testing is expensive, it's time consuming, and that when you get a blood test, it's just really a picture of that moment in time. So our hormone levels fluctuate throughout the day, they fluctuate throughout the month. And so having it tested at one moment in time just gives you basically a picture of that moment at one moment in time. But having a picture of that one moment in time did two things for me. On the front end, when I first started working with Joy, I realized my numbers were too low. When we did a follow-up test 6 weeks later, my estrogen was too high. So the patch that they had prescribed was too much of a dose and we had to cut that back. And again, we would not have known that except for the fact that my numbers were high and I started spotting, which you shouldn't do when you're 57 years old. So I clearly knew that we needed to adjust a couple of things, and that will happen with HRTU. Are constantly tweaking and adjusting because things just change in your life. But I will say that I am pro testing. So what I would encourage you to do if you think you want to do the testing, visit Joy's website. You can get there from the hormone therapy website, and you can go. There's links there. Once you get there, again, put the test that you want in your cart. You can use the coupon code to get 15% off. I also encourage you to look at their weight loss products. I have been on their peptide called semaglutide, which you may know is Ozempic. So semaglutide is just the generic version. I've lost like 12 pounds and I needed to get that last 12 off. So I'm very excited about that. For me, using the hormone replacement therapy and the semaglutide together have been the cat's meow, making sure that I kind of get my weight down to where I want it. So I feel great because of the HRT. I've lost an additional 12 pounds because of the semaglutide. So those two things combined have been very helpful to me. And you can use that coupon code again to put the semaglutide in your cart. You could do a 2-month, a 4-month, a 6-month, or an 8-month dosage of it. Put in your cart, use the coupon code for the 15% off. You'll really get a lot off if you do it that way. And then what they'll do is they'll reach out to you so you can meet with a professional to validate your purchase. And then they'll just send you the semaglutide and the injection shots and the syringes and all the stuff that you need just directly to you. So hopefully this was helpful. Blood testing to me is, yes, it's inconvenient, but I think there's a lot of value to it. So hope this was helpful.